Okay. So, you got a lot of fan mail, and I was just wondering, hypothetically of course, if I were to send you an elephant, where would you hide it?
We have a big props lockup at Supernatural where we put all the props. There's like giant stuffed animals and neon signs and beds and things like that. I would probably tuck it in there for a while and see if anyone complained. Do you have an elephant that you're trying to unload?
A small drawing of an elephant.
Oh, that's much easier to handle.
But I was wondering if you'd like an actual elephant.
Well, I would love an actual elephant. I'm not sure it's legal or whatever, but big deal. It would be hard to explain to Warner Brothers. Let's just be cool with it. It's only going to be here for a few years. Great question, though. Thank you for asking. Hi.
Hi. Since you already know like some of the stuff that's happened on Supernatural, is there any other character that you would like to be other than Castiel?
Well, yes. I would love to. Gosh, there's lots of characters I'd love to play. I think I'd love to play Lucifer at some point. That would be fun. I think that Mark Pellegrino did such a great job with that character. That'd be a lot of fun to play. Yeah. You? What would your favorite character to play be?
Probably you.
Good answer.
Hi. So on Wednesday, it was Back to the Future Day.
Yes.
And imagine that Doc Brown, he shows up at your house and he takes you 15 years into the future, it's 2030, and West, he's a grown-up, and you find out he's married to Northwest, our great president, Kanye. He says, he tells you that the only reason...
You're painting a portrait of a very apocalyptic future.
The reason he let your son marry his daughter is because he made him change his last name to hers. So my question is, what would be the first thing you'd say to your son, West?
Normally, I don't like the hypothetical questions, but I kind of think that you have really hit upon actually a question that a lot of people have been wondering. What? Don't introduce them. Yeah, I should be very careful about that. I don't know. I'd probably try to see if he could hook me up with a ride on Air Force One. It'd be pretty awesome. I would be sucking up to my son, who is now the son-in-law of the president. He could really do a lot for me. Now, but he's married at a remarkably young age, huh? How long have they been married at this point?
A long time.
I mean,
in the future,
how many years in the future were we?
15 years.
15 years. So he's married at 20, but he's been married for a long time. Which means, when you say a long time, I'm thinking probably more than a couple of years, which means I would have had to grant parental consent for him to get married, right? I mean, you're following me?
Yeah.
So would I really do that? To my, 13-year-old son? And would I pimp him out to the president's daughter? How long has Kanye's term been at this point? Has he been reelected already?
Everybody dropped out in 2016 and he became president.
He became president in 2016 and changed the Constitution so that he could continue to be president for 4 terms? Shit. Man, I thank God my kids are also Canadian citizens. We can maybe head this whole thing off and move over the border. That was a super weird experience. Thank you. Hi.
Hi,
Hi, Misha. My name is Stephanie.
Hi, Stephanie.
So Jared has his Always Keep Fighting campaign, and you have Random Acts. And I've noticed that recently Random Acts has been doing some more in support of mental health, which is really great. As someone with a mental illness who also works in mental health, I can attest to how comforting hearing words of support from the people we look up to and we love can really be. Sometimes it's 3 in the morning and you can't call somebody, and all you can do is pull up that clip on YouTube and watch it over and over again to just stay here. So my question is, if you could look out into this audience right now and say something to those people who are fighting to stay here, what would you say?
You are the mental health professional. What should I say? I feel like if you say the wrong thing in this context, things could go really badly. There's a quote that I really love that I refrain sometimes, which is, pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. And I think that that is mostly true. Although I think that there are a lot of times when it feels like suffering is not within our control. And I don't know, I think that there's a lot of people out there in this community, again, that really support one another, and that there is a safety net of love and care available, and it's just barely at arm's reach. So I hope that people know that there's a lot of people that they can reach out to. One of the things that we're trying to do right now with Random Acts is we're working with To Write Love on Her Arms, and we're trying to build a network where people can call in at any hour, and there will be somebody there. Actually, it's going to be an online interface. It will be sort of the first phase, but there'll be people who are trained and able to respond to crisis situations, and so hopefully that'll be helpful. But yeah, thank you.
So I'm from Tahiti. I flew all the way from Tahiti to get here, and I'm so happy to be here, okay?
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, we are glad that you're here as well. Tahiti, holy smokes. Stop it, you mob mentality people. Is this your first time? Have you been to the lower 48 before?
No.
No? What do you think of it? It's so tiny and quaint here in Chicago, isn't it?
Chicago, yeah, tiny.
No, not tiny.
No, I was joking. Chicago is so big.
I've never been to Tahiti.
You haven't?
I have not. What?
It's a magical place.
It's a magical place. Have you been to many other countries?
No.
No? Where have you been in the world?
Hawaii.
Hawaii?
Yeah.
That's very different from Tahiti. Yes. I was in Palau. Do you know where Palau is? It's in Micronesia.
Yeah.
It's just a little bit past your neighborhood. That's where my son was conceived. I don't know how it happened. It's a very beautiful part of the world. I also took, for some reason, a photo of a starfish tied to my crotch, which I think was a little bit ill-conceived. I already did. Also, it wasn't a great idea. So I feel like we've strayed, though, from the original point of your question.
My original question was, what is your task in flip-flops?
What is my what?
Your task in flip-flops.
I knew you were going to ask that. What is my taste in flip-flops? I have a pair of flip-flops that are AstroTurf flip-flops. So it looks like I'm walking on a little piece of grass. They're pretty great. What is your taste in flip-flops?
Simple ones, I guess.
You like the simple flip-flop? Not. I really didn't expect to be talking about this. I feel like I didn't adequately prepare for this conversation. What are you wearing right now on your feet? Boots. Did you buy those boots for this trip, or did you have them already?
They're my mom's.
They're your mom's boots from when she came to America many years ago.
She ordered them online.
She ordered them online. Where does she do most of her shopping?
Amazon.
Amazon is big in Tahiti, isn't it? Do you have Amazon Prime in Tahiti?
Yeah.
No, that must be frustrating. Does that sometimes make you want to move? Like you can't get 2-day free delivery? No, you want to stay. Okay. It was nice to talk to you. I look forward to seeing your flip-flops. Are you going to be wearing, did you bring any flip-flops?
No, I should have.
Yes, you definitely should. Okay.
Hey.
Hi.
So, Jason just tweeted that he's going to be here tonight for...
Holy smokes.
Yeah, so
I'm totally going to throw my bra at the stage. Let's do it.
Well, my question is actually related to Jared and Jensen. If they were forced to be your personal slave for a week, what menial terrible tasks...
Which, by the way, does not happen very often. What?
What menial terrible tasks would you make them complete for you? Just to get back at them for all the pranks that they've done, like pie in the face, all of that. What would you make them do?
First of all, just for the record, I want to say that I'm opposed to slavery. However, I would make an exception in this instance.
Indentured servitude, let's do that.
You're right, though. I think that it would be nice to have them do fairly degrading things. I mentioned earlier today in another conversation that I had been in an RV that the toilet had clogged. It didn't just clog, it froze and the pipes burst and it was just disgusting. So it'd be awesome if they could take care of that. I don't know, whatever the work that I want them to do, it has the terms septic, bilge, leach field. I want them to be working in that arena. I met a guy once who worked he worked for the city of Los Angeles, cleaning the city sewers. And he emphatically thought that it was the coolest job in the world. He was like, it is such an awesome job, man. I've got to take you down there sometime. Awesome.
Did he say it was cool as shit?
Shit. You're supposed to let me say the funny jokes. Hi.
Hi. What's one thing that you couldn't put on the list for Gishwas because it was too weird?
Is that possible?
No, yes. There are a lot of things that get taken off the list at the 11th hour because they're considered too dangerous or illegal, degrading or something like that. There were a lot this year. Shit, what were they? I was really frustrated by the fact that we got so many complaints about my son's item, which was a boat on a plane, and flying the plane with a boat on it, and it had to, I think it stipulated it had to be a giant boat. And people called or wrote and said that it was going to cause plane crashes and fatalities and blah blah, boring. And I fought to keep that. And then eventually there was a lawyer, and I lost that one. We had another item, the first year, there was an item that was stand on the peak of a roof wrapped in Christmas tree lights at night with the lights plugged in. Which on the surface, of course, sounds harmless. But when you see the first images come in, the first night of Gishwas, and there you see people standing on the peak of a 3-story building, completely entangled in wires, you realize that there's virtually no chance that someone won't die. So we had to take that one down. But there were items that we have done items in the past, like the floating Christmas trees, that were really spectacular, and yes, they may have resulted in some deaths, but we don't know about them. There were airports that were closed because of Christmas trees in the airspace, which I felt pretty awesome about. It's called K-level thinking. Do you guys know this term? It's like you think a few steps down. It's like not just the next move in chess, but the other guy's going to do something, and then you're going to do something, and that'll result in this. I don't always do that level of thinking. What happens when the Christmas tree then has to come down somewhere? Like, where does the Christmas tree that's in the sky land? I didn't think through that stuff. So, yeah. But there are a lot of items that get culled. There's some that maybe get saved for next year to get tweaked into a more acceptable. They've gotten a little bit less risque, also, the items over the years, I feel like. It used to be more nudity and stuff like that. Kind of miss the old days. Hi.
Hello. When Castiel loses his powers, he's forced to experience a lot of different human things for the first time. My question is, what's the most memorable and your favorite first major life experience?
As a human? Shame on you. There are kids in this audience. Mom, what's sex? That lady kept screaming it. Cheeseburgers? I think that the entire sensory experience for Cass was pretty overwhelming. As an actor, I think probably the most poignant was the toothpaste. I was just filling my mouth with toothpaste and just squirting it into my mouth over and over again, and eating it. And I felt pretty sick after that. What? Well, but you were already hopeless, so it doesn't matter. In fact, that might be why people in the back of the line have hope. Because maybe someone in the front of the line is going to ask their question. So don't act disappointed. You're one of the lucky ones. Your question otherwise would never have gotten asked. Do you realize that? That was your question? Oh, so she didn't take the question. I screwed up your thing. Many times. That's one of the things when you're working on so many. When you're working in television, one of the things that happens is you learn how to do certain things. We'll shoot many takes sometimes. So many. And if you are doing an eating scene, you don't want to swallow a lot of food because you might have to do that. Like when we were eating, there was a scene in a bar. It was not a bar, it was a strip club. And it was Cass. Cass was, I guess, gonna die or something, and so Dean was gonna get him laid, right? Seems innocent enough. So he took him to a whorehouse. And and I was drinking a beer, and this was really the first time that Cass, in my memory, I think, had really drunk a beer. And we were shooting take after take, and each time I kind of thought it was an interesting choice to really just chug the beer, like just drink the beer. And it wasn't really beer, so that was fine. It was just a liquid, about a pint of liquid. And we drank, we did take after take after take, and I was chugging it each time, and I was trying to go, well, I don't know if I'm gonna make it. I might die. And then the director said, okay, Misha, now we're on you. I have an idea. It would be really funny if you really chugged the beer. And the director had been at Video Village watching on the monitors while we shot all this coverage of Jensen, and nobody could see that I was drinking the beer. So, yeah, I almost had internal hemorrhaging for nothing. But that's something that, you know, a more seasoned actor doesn't make that mistake. You parse things out very carefully. Like you don't eat the toothpaste. It's a rookie move. Anyway, I'm sorry that your question got a little bit hijacked by one of the hopeless people. I feel like we got to it anyway, right? Okay, good talking to you. Hi.
Hi, Misha. I was just going to start off by saying I watch the show every week with my dad. Actually, leads into a question. So, you obviously
There's not a lot of places in the world where you can talk to somebody who has a handle on the end of a donkey jawbone gesticulating around, and it looks totally normal. She's got the first blade here. It's just... And she's gesturing with it like it's, you know, like a pencil. Hi.
Hi.
So you watch with your dad?
Yeah, and you have kids, obviously, and...
Is it that obvious?
Well, you talked about them, so...
Yeah, okay.
So every time there's like a sex scene or something incredibly violent, it's kind of awkward. The two of us just like sitting in silence, and I was wondering, well, when are you going to like fully adopt your kids into the show and let them watch it, or are you going to censor some parts of it?
Do you wish that your dad censored some parts for you?
Well, no, but I'm just saying, like, if your kids are like, oh, look, there's, you know, Jensen, and, yo, no, he's having sex or something.
My kids have seen Jensen have sex many times. They're not going to be impressed by that. Every time I come up on stage for one of these, I think something along the lines of, please don't say something that you will regret for the rest of your life. I know, that's why I'm reflecting. That's why I'm having this moment of pause right now. So far, I have not watched Supernatural with my kids. I did show them on my iPhone a little montage, because they were a little bit confused as to why I go to work. What are you doing? And I said, oh, you know, I'm an angel. And they're like, oh, what's an angel? Well, it's not real. I'm not really an angel. You know TV, but they don't really know TV, so it was very difficult to explain. We actually took my son and daughter to go see Annie, the musical, last week, and we've not taken them to a lot of movies. They haven't watched a lot of TV really to speak of, and the entire time, the only thing that West could wrap his head around was like, okay. Dad, is this a movie? No, those are real kids up on stage. Oh, okay. Is it a movie now? So it's all very complicated for them at that stage. So I think that like layering on, you know, all of the elements of sex and violence and stuff like that might be a little bit much for them to handle. Also, it'd be a lot for me to explain. Like, Oh, they're using that bone to chop off a man's head. Why? Why are they doing that? Well, it's just hard to explain to the kids. Why is Uncle Jensen doing that to that poor woman? I am a big fan of censorship, is basically what I'm saying. There should be a little button that you can press, a redaction button that just blacks out the screen for times. That would be great. You could watch, your dad should get one of those. I think that it's, well, I took my son to see, or actually I took both of them to see Inside Out, that cartoon. But we had to leave several times for crying and upset. Like, it was so terrifying, that movie. So I think Supernatural would be pretty much. I do meet young children who are just as Castiel and stuff, and so I think, oh, they're going to grow up to be a serial killer. No offense, by the way, to the young serial killers in the audience. Are there lights in your hair back there? That's pretty great. What? Salt and burn. Where's Salt? Hi, Salt. You look great, guys. Salt and burn in the nice. Very, very nice. Oh, salt, like Morton salt. That's what the umbrella is. It took me a second to figure out what you were doing. That's awesome. Nice. I thought you were Osric for a second.